Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ACW Elite Tournament. We are in the quarterfinals as we now have two of the men advancing to the semifinals, Kanika Man and Neji Ayuga. We're about to find out the third man as it's the battle of the Street Fighters. That's Mr. MVP Dan Hibiki. We'll go one-on-one against his tag team partner, Ken Masters. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in for one hell of a match. A match personally that I have been waiting to see in quite some time. That man Ken Masters has made his mark on this tournament by defeating Seiya in the first round to advance to the quarterfinals here tonight. But the way he did it was in such a convincing fashion, like two super kicks to Seiya. One involving Seiya leaping off the top rope and in mid-air super kicking him right off the face of the earth. If that doesn't scream determination, I don't know what the hell does. But he's not dealing with Seiya here tonight. He's dealing with his tag team partner, Mr. MVP, Dan Hibiki. Dan Hibiki, in some people's eyes, made an upset victory by defeating Nakuma in the first round of the tournament and advanced to the quarterfinals. And in ways, I do kind of agree with that. I'll be honest, I do agree with that. Remember, you see it on the top right corner, hashtag #QuarterElite. Whoa! How many power do we have? I know we're kind of financially stable and all, but how much power do we really need for this tournament, really? But anyways, hashtag #QuarterElite. If you're watching this on Facebook, YouTube, or you're watching it right beside Twitter, make sure you post hashtag #QuarterElite and share it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google+, and spread the word about the tournament here tonight and for future matches as we are counting down the days to the return of ACW on Monday, March 26th. As this match has started here, Ken Masters and Dan Hibiki, two partners that honestly I did not think would get along when ACW was just evolving and starting to grow, but they eventually found a way. They found their niche. They are former ACW Excel Tag Team Champions, and as everybody knows by now, and an elbow to the face, and as everybody knows by now, the Little Fighters beat them at ACW Fusion about 2 years ago, and then subsequently were kicked out of Gamma by Moroku and Sasuke. And Dan and Ken have still not addressed that elephant in the room. Dan and Ken have still not addressed Gamma stabbing him in the back and leaving them for dead. All they came out, and a neck breaker by Dan. All they came out here for was the Elite Tournament. Out of all the 60 competitors that I spoke with, and I said this all last week, I only was able to speak to 14 of them, as the two that I wasn't able to speak with were these two, Ken and Dan. And they were very, very hesitant to speak about anything. They were just here to compete in the Elite Tournament. And you gotta wonder that these two, whenever they do return back on ACW, a DDT, topping the MVM, most valuable move there. There's only one that can do it like Dan. But yeah, Dan and Ken will have to address that elephant in the room in Gamma backstabbing them somewhere down the road. Back to this match, however, Ken Masters is looking to be the one to have the momentum here. Look at this, Dan Hibiki with a wrist lock, snaps him down. And now Dan right behind Ken here. Dan, and a back suplex onto Ken Masters. And look at this again, Ken. Another flamboyant DDT that resembles the MVM. And a flapjack almost right near the ropes. That could have been very bad for Dan. Look at this, an abdominal stretch onto Ken Masters here. Reeling himself back in. You know, look, no. Ken, the hip toss. As we know right now for the semifinals, Kanekaman and Neji Ayuga are the only two right now that are locked in for the semifinals. Ken Masters and Dan Hibiki tonight are here to determine who's going to be the third man to join that semifinals. And then tomorrow night will be Hiei versus Kakashi Hatake to finally fill in that final slot for the semifinals. The semifinals starting next week. That'll lead to the finals 2 weeks from now. That's right, semifinals next week, the finals will be 2 weeks from now. And those dates will be given out when we confirm them. And Dan with the backbreaker on the Ken. A lot of people really excited about this Elite Tournament. People really love the Elite Tournament this year. Just talking about the quarterfinals alone, Kanekaman and DK, one of the best matches in the Elite Tournament. Probably one of my favorite matches that I've seen in ACW in quite some time. With Kanekaman able to beat DK with a Kaneka Buster that you have to go back to watch to really truly believe how awesome that really was. And then Neji Ayuga, the Excel veteran. Oh, again over the top rope. But Neji Ayuga able to defeat the young upstart and Takuya Kanabara to also advance to the semifinals, and he will meet Kanekaman in that semifinals. Now Dan and Ken grab us, see who gets power here, and that'll be Dan. And an elbow to the face. And Dan goes from behind. And Dan Irish whips Ken to the rope. No! Another neck breaker sends down Ken, and Dan has looking to squash Ken's momentum that he built up earlier in this match. Snapmare. Elbow to the back of the head. And look, whoa, oh, the DDT! I believe that was the most valuable move. Bam, yes it was. And nobody does it better than Dan. Yeah, Ken did that move too, but Dan does it in such a way that it is his move, the most valuable move. But Ken's right back on his trail. Knee to the face. Look at this. Ken Masters. Oh my goodness, a nice overhead neck breaker by Ken. And Ken was measuring up for the super kick, but Dan knew it was coming. Dan knew that super kick was coming. And being partners for so long, Dan would know things like that. It is inevitable. But Dan must have saw that Ken was going for that move and got out of dodge real quick. And German suplex onto the mat outside. Very little padding as Ken is smashing his head onto Dan there. So referee's counting to 4. Back suplex onto the padding. There's not a lot of give in those paddings, I'll tell you that. Oh my God, a most valuable move onto the padding. And I could very much well do it. Referee counted a 9 almost. 9. It is a 20 count though, however. Not a 10 count, a 20 count. There's 10. The both men are back in the ring now. Oh, and down with a clothesline catching that kick from Ken. And now Ken will do a wrist lock. Both men are pretty much spent in this match. And that is expected. Wait a minute, what's Ken going for here? Oh my goodness, a tornado DDT, and Ken has finally made his partner bleed. And Ken may be looking to set in a super kick, but Dan was able to get out of it and get up from it. Once again, ring presence and ring positioning from Dan, making Ken not able to cement that super kick onto him. Oh my goodness, a snapmare onto the leg. Dragon wrench if you want to be specific. Oh my God! And there was a super kick out of nowhere! The super kick I was talking about! 1, 2, 3, and yes, and it's over! I told you that super kick was going to be the deciding factor of this match, and it damn sure just got Ken Masters to win, and he is now advancing to the semifinals. What a good match. Let's take a look at the highlights here. The MPM was the padding, and we thought that was it for Ken, but Ken rebounded with a tornado DDT, busting Dan open, and bam! That super kick out of nowhere. That Dan was trying to avoid the whole match, but inevitably met his doom, and Ken picks up the 3 to beat his partner Dan, and now that man, Ken Masters, is going to meet the 3rd man in the semifinals, and a deserved victory as well. But he will meet the winner of tomorrow's match.